Welcome to Midweek Maction on Bobcat TV. Alongside Cedric Ranger, I'm Sam Hyman. Game 2 of our 3-game series between the Kent State Golden Flashes and the Ohio Bobcats from the Ohio softball field. Cedric, if we unpack yesterday's game, 3-2, intense from the jump. Head coach Jenna Hall said Kent State came out and took it to us. They punched us into the mouth a little bit, but the Ohio Bobcats responded. What was your biggest takeaway and impressions from the way Ohio fought in that game to win 3-2?
Yeah, Sam, they showed fantastic persistence on that day. Sometimes you're going to have games where things are not going to start off going your way, but Ohio, they stuck it through, and even though the pitching and defense sometimes showed themselves to be impermeable from Kent State, they were able to overcome that and ultimately get the first game win.
Yeah, Kent State jumped out to a 2-0 lead, and then Ohio responded with 3 unanswered runs to pick up the 3-2 victory. This game means more than just the literal game, Cedric. It is Morgan's Message mental health awareness game, which we'll get into a little bit more in depth as this game goes on. But this is an initiative that strives to eliminate the stigma surrounding mental health. Point being, mental health is very important to these student athletes and coaches.
It sure is. And there's a connection between all athletes on campus with Morgan's Message. You can see many of the other athletes from other teams that are here in the venue. Field hockey, they brought even a sign talking about field hockey. We love OU softball and being able to have that connection. And it's something that really ties all OU athletes together in that battle for mental health.
All right, we are set to go here from the Ohio softball field. Julia Mazinek, the senior shortstop for the Golden Flashes, leads us off. And the first pitch is upstairs, ball 1. Kylie Kofelt in the circle for the Bobcats, the graduate student, second season with Ohio, transferred from Duke. She's making her 14th start of the season, sporting a 3.51 ERA. This pitch is grounded towards third. Shelby Wessler gobbles it up and chucks it to first in time. 1 up, 1 down. The freshman Shelby Wessler making a fine play over at third.
Yeah, we've seen the hot corners really be the go-to spot for a lot of these hits that are going. So everybody who's on third base, whether it's Whitmore or Wessler, they have to really be on their game. We saw Wessler come with a really impressive catch in the first inning the last time around and already starting off her day with a nice play.
Brie Despinese, the freshman catcher at the plate for the Golden Flashes. She takes outside for ball 1. The defense surrounding Kylie Kofelt in the outfield left to right. Freshman Belle Hummel is in left. Junior Yasmin Logan plays center field. CC Keitel, the sophomore, was the hero yesterday. She's out in right field. 1-0 pitch, and the off-speed fools Despinese. It's a called strike, 1-1. Shelby Wessler, who just made the play a moment ago, she's at third base. Sydney Grine at short. Tori O'Brien is the second baseman. Alexis Daw at first. And Emma Hoffner does the catching. 1-1. Maneuvers just outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. Golden Flashes trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. Ohio sitting atop the Mid-American Conference with a 12-4 record. They're 22-16 overall coming into today. 2-1 misses low. 3 balls and 1 strike. How does Kent State respond after yesterday's loss?
Well, they do have some things that they really could build upon. Whitmore, she was absolutely electric on the base paths, and the defense and pitching was very solid on that day. But with a new pitcher coming into the day, the defense will have to continue being strong for Kent State, especially knowing that the Bobcats, one of the best offensive teams in the MAC, you held them to 3 runs.
Yeah.
That is a winnable performance right there. And if just the bats can get going, can give yourself maybe 3 or 4 runs and have a great pitching performance again, they can be able to steal one.
Well, here's a good at-bat from Brie Despinese, the team's leader in batting average, hitting .330 on the season. And she's fooled on the off-speed as Kofelt pulls the string on Despinese. 2 up, 2 down to start the top of the first inning from Ohio softball field here in Athens.
Yeah, I like Kofelt's usage of the off-speed pitch. She's used that multiple times with that at-bat, was able to fool Despinese, where she was coming in probably as the hottest bat on Kent State. And so far, Ohio's done a good job to keep her isolated.
No question about it, as the number 3 hitter, Alexandra Whitmore, stands in, and she flinches back a bit, takes ball 1. the redshirt senior third baseman who had her name inked all over the box score yesterday. She did a lot of good things, made a couple of mistakes in the field, but she was incredibly active and engaged the entire game as the 1-0 is bunted foul behind home plate. She is fast. I think that's one of the biggest takeaways that we saw from her game yesterday.
Yeah, the raw talent is just there, whether it's the speed, also just the arm strength as well. Her throws get there with so much velocity, and she just has a really good wherewithal on the base pass, being able to evade defenders. We talked yesterday about how she made ESPN for doing a duck attempt, and even rewatching her run and being able to be caught in a rundown and then make it to third base anyway. It's fantastic what she can do.
1 ball and 1 strike, the count. And this is flown down the left field line and out of play into Ohio's bullpen. And that was an interesting call yesterday with Alexandra Whitmore on the base pass. It was an obstruction call, which seemed a little bit odd. That was a big moment, though, early in the game. Whether you agree, disagree with the call, what Whitmore did do was stay in a pickle longer than a lot of people would have expected.
Yeah, just giving yourself a chance. That's what you got to do sometimes.
1-2 is low. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the number 3 hitter, Alexandra Whitmore, redshirt senior third baseman, facing Kylie Kofelt, the Duke transfer. A lot of energy around the park today. You'll hear Amesville Elementary quite a bit, and you'll hear them right now after Kofelt strikes out Whitmore. 3 up, 3 down for Ohio, and the Bobcats will bat for the first time today when we come back. Scoreless, just getting underway. Game 1 of our doubleheader today. Midweek Maction. Don't go anywhere on Bobcat TV. Bobcats about to bat here in the bottom of the first inning. Back with Cedric Ranger, I'm Sam Hyman. Cedric, again, 10 out of 10. Weather report, outstanding, unbelievable. There's barely a cloud in the sky, just some cirrus clouds and nothing but sunshine.
Exactly. You don't even really know which day was better, yesterday or today, because we were talking about before the broadcast. We're living for the now, so let's take today's weather over yesterday's. Either way, fantastic for Ohio softball. Even Coach Hall called it softball weather yesterday.
She did. I asked her that after the game, and she is certainly happy that there is no snow in the forecast. That was the case a couple of weeks ago here at this park.
Oh, trust me, Carl and I know.
Belle Hummel at the plate for the Bobcats, freshman left fielder with a ton of speed. Coach Hall said at the beginning of the season she knew she had a ton of speed at the top of the order. With the way Belle Hummel has grown and evolved throughout the offseason, leading into her first full season with the Bobcats, as she takes outside. And it's 3 balls and no strikes to Ohio's leadoff hitter. Ohio struggled early in the game yesterday, but they did not give up. They got opportunities late in the game and took advantage after getting down 2-0, scored 3 unanswered to win it 3-2. 3-0 pitch is a called strike, and the count is 3-1. And CeCe Keitel said post-game yesterday, you know, we're used to at times in Mid-American Conference play getting up on our opponent first, and here they got down And unlike the Central Michigan series, they were able to respond and win yesterday's game. The first 2 games of the CMU series, they didn't score. They weren't able to respond. They were able to yesterday.
Yeah, big difference from game one. From game to game, you really want to show improvement throughout the season. And Ohio being able to come out of there, you were down for a little bit, and being able to make something happen was huge.
The payoff pitch, and Hummel knocks that one into left field. It's a leadoff single for the Bobcats freshman left fielder.
I like it as well, kind of getting a nice running start in the box there and being able to slap that one, blooping it over the infield and into shallow left field. Good spot there for Hummel. And she was pretty good on the base paths yesterday, had the stolen base, 2 for 3 yesterday as well. So she's really starting to hum.
Yeah, no question about it. She's 13 of 16 in stolen base attempts this season, making her 39th start today and hitting just above 300 as the Ames Elementary School students getting activated as we speak. This is Yasmin Logan, the junior center fielder at the plate for the Bobcats. She's been swinging a good bat of late, 2 hits and 2 RBIs in her last 2 games. As you can hear those bleachers, the energy is high right now as Hummel retreats back to the first base bag. Yeah,
it's going to be a good battle there. Or see Despinese behind the dish right there, eyeing Hummel at first base, kind of almost daring her to try to steal second base. Should be a fun little battle there going on. As there's more than one battle that goes on the diamond whenever we're watching a play, not only the pitcher versus the batter, but also catcher versus the base runners.
Certainly a mind game. 2-0. Is low. 3 balls and no strikes. So the second time in a row, Macy Ireland, the pitcher in the circle for the Golden Flashes, has gotten behind 3-0. Ireland making her 5th start of the season, a 4.93 ERA for the freshman. She's got a solid changeup, according to head coach Eric Oakley. Needs something good right here, and that's on the outside corner for a called strike, 3-1.
Yeah, she was able to deliver the fastball there. She's one of those players, though, where you look at the amount of pitchers that Kent State had originally to start the year. You had 5 pitchers, but due to 3 injuries, now she went from being a player that came out of the pen to now being more of a pitcher that starts.
Logan bounces it foul, third base side. And to that point, Eric Oakley told me, the head coach of Kent State, she's having to learn on the fly because of those injuries and those pitchers from last year who transferred away from the program. She's making those mistakes and learning, not just in practice, but she's literally doing that in the game. She's learning and making the mistakes in the game, which can be beneficial down the road, but in the present moment, as she walks Yasmin Logan here, in the present moment, it certainly impacts the win-loss record, and right now she's in a bit of a jam with Alexis Daw coming to the plate, tied for 4th in the MAC with a .378 batting average. So Belle Hummel at second, Yasmin Logan at first. And Alexis Daw, who had 2 hits yesterday, locked in the lefty batter's box. Here's the first pitch. And that misses, it catches the outside corner. Looked a little bit off to the left side there, but it's 0-1.
Yeah, her first pitch strike of the afternoon.
Ireland fires, and that one connects on the outside corner. 0-2. The defensive alignment for Kent State, left to right in the outfield, Jade Raymer. Delaney Robeson is in center. Savannah Wing patrols right field. The 0-2 pitch, and Daw crushes this one into right center field. It's off the base of the wall. Here comes Belle Hummel with that lightning quick speed, and she is in there safely at home. Ohio cracks the scoreboard first. Alexis Daw delivers. It's 1-0 Bobcats.
Being able to start fast is huge. This is something that Coach Hall wants to see her team do, be able to start these games fast. It didn't happen yesterday, but the Cats were still able to win, and now they already get on the board early with still nobody out and 2 runners in scoring position, leading by 1 at OSF.
5th double of the season for Alexis Daw. And the Bobcats lead it 1-0. Yasmin Logan at 3rd. And Daw at 2nd. The batter is Analia Paoli, the designated player, and she takes a strike, 0-1. Paoli struggling a little bit at the plate of late, not in totality on the season. She's got a team high 6 homers and 10 doubles, but she is hitless in her last 12 at-bats. Popped up, left side of the infield. Julia Mazanek snatches it for the first out in the bottom of the 1st.
Yeah, she's made decent contact with a lot of her at-bats yesterday. No strikeouts, even though she went 0 for 3. It's just been the placement and the timing just being a little bit off.
Emma Hoffner, the sophomore catcher, steps in for Ohio. See how Macy Ireland responds. Again, a moment in a game as a freshman where she's learning a lot about herself, being flustered into this rotation. That is low for ball 1 to Emma Hoffner. Comes in with a .337 batting average today. That is 2nd on the squad. Corner infielders are creeping in as the 1-0 soars high. And it's 2 balls and no strikes. So 1-0 lead for Ohio early. Game 1 of our double dip today here in Athens. .2-0 is yanked foul, third base side. 2 balls and 1 strike. Well, you definitely feel as if Ohio has come out in this game with a sense of urgency. There's Hoffner, a screaming line drive. That plugs the gap in left center field and brings in 2 runs. A double for Emma Hoffner, and Ohio, the bats booming early, 3-0.
Already a trio of hits, and this is where things get a little bit dangerous here for Kent State. You have only 3 pitchers that are healthy in the lineup right now today. So right now for Ireland, she's going to have to stick this one through. It's a tough start, but with 1 down in the inning and having a couple of runners get hits, 3 hits, she's just got to be able to find that mindfulness to really grow in this moment. As a freshman, going against a really tough team in Ohio as well, you're going to learn from these experiences.
Yeah, the freshman Ireland went 7 innings in her last outing, gave up 11 hits, allowed 3 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, and 1 walk. That was against Northern Illinois, as the first pitch is a strike, 0-1 to Sydney Grine, a junior shortstop who tripled for the first time in her career yesterday. And zips outside, 1-1.
Yeah, just has a knack for coming up with those big-time milestones in rivalry series. Had the first home run against Miami, now her first triple against Kent State. Both of those were huge.
And the junior knocks that one back to the net. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Sydney Grine.
So one of the players in the 2020 graduating class, which is a class I'm a part of as well, too. Losing spring sports was one of the hardest things to have to endure. So you kind of lose that senior year, that last opportunity to go out on the high school level. But after not playing too much her first 2 seasons, has really burst onto the scene. And that's one of my favorite things about being able to follow along with these players for multiple years, is seeing who becomes the rising stars each and every season.
A 1-2 pitch buzzes up and in. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Yeah, Sydney Grine only played in 5 games in 2021, just 2 games in 2022, and has been a focal point. Starting shortstop, 2-2 misses low, and the count's full, 3 balls and 2 strikes, hitting .279 in 2023. Three balls and 2 strikes with a runner at second. Here's the pitch, and that is way too high, up in the attic for ball 4, and Sydney Grine walks to put runners at first and second. And Cedric, now our player to watch on the Ohio Bobcats side, Shelby Wessler, comes to the plate, third baseman, who is on a 3-game hit streak and as just a freshman, second in doubles on the squad.
Yeah, we're really highlighting the young guns here today, but Wessler, she was the spark plug that really got things going in the 5th inning for Ohio. They were not able to get really anything going for the first 4.5 innings, but then bottom of the 5th came around and they were able to find their offense, and it started with a first pitch swing by Wessler right down the third base line. And after that, Ohio was up and moving. You just needed some player to really seize that momentum, and that was Wessler.
Well, Wessler will have to wait just a moment. We've got a new pitcher in the circle for the Golden Flashes, and we'll tell you about her when we come back here on Bobcat TV. Stick with us. All right, new pitcher in the circle for the Kent State Golden Flashes, a lot earlier than Eric Oakley would have hoped for here, as Macy Ireland unable to complete a full inning of work. So it's Carly Penner who makes just her 5th appearance in the circle this season, the freshman from Wintersville, Ohio, out of Indian Creek High School. And she deals with a freshman for Ohio and Shelby Wessler. 1 ball and no strikes.
Yeah, Penner originally came to Kent State as an outfielder, but has had to make the move to pitcher a little bit on account of the injury. She's made 4 appearances this season, even 1 start as well. She's going to be called upon, as there's not a lot of depth left in terms of pitchers. Of course, you'll probably have Annalise Kelly be due up to do the 3rd game. So right now they're definitely going to be having a look and scrape through some of the field players to see if anybody can move over to pitch.
There's a look at that Ohio dugout, energized right now. It's been a great bottom of the 1st inning so far. 3-0 advantage and potentially more, as that pitch misses high. It's 3 balls and 1 strike. Still only 1 out in the inning. Carly Penner in the 4 appearances this season, just 3 1/3 innings, 4 earned runs allowed. And that is ball 4, so the bases are loaded for the Bobcats, with CC Keitel coming to the plate.
What's great, whenever you have 1 or less outs in an inning, pretty much anything that's sent into the outfield deep is going to result in a run. But right now, one thing Ohio's just been doing has been spraying the ball very well around. They've been able to find the gaps in the outfield, not just hitting ones out to left field, right field, center field. And it makes the outfielders really have to work trying to track that ball down. And we've seen some of the outfielders from Kent State kind of struggle to do that yesterday. So the Cats continue to keep testing them. We'll see.
CC Keitel swings and fouls that one off to the right side. And the count is still 0-2. So you've got Emma Hoffner at 3rd, Sydney Grine at 2nd, Shelby Wessler at 1st base. And it's CC Keitel who delivered the game-winning RBI double with 2 outs yesterday in the 3-2 victory from the Bobcats. 1 ball and 2 strikes. I asked her, how does the practice translate to being able to produce like that in the game like she did yesterday, as that miss is low. And she says every time she practices, whether it's in the cages or live batting practice, she takes it very seriously, like it is the actual game. It's easy to say that, but to actually have that mentality every time is very impressive. Full count.
And you can tell she's not just talking the talk, but also walking the walk by her presence whenever you see her appearances on the plate, especially in a really tough scenario where the game is tied. The team is dependent on you to be able to come up with the play. It was huge what she was able to do yesterday, as there's another run for the Bobcats.
A bases loaded walk, so that's 3 consecutive walks from Kent State pitchers. And the Golden Flash is really in a bind right now as Tori O'Brien steps in. And we're only in the bottom of the first inning.
Yeah, Ohio set up potentially to bat around the order to start off the game. They have a chance to make quick work out of Kent State here.
O'Brien, the junior second baseman, bounces this one to the second baseman, Reagan Schultz. Throws to the plate late. Run scores. Bobcats lead 4-zip. That's Sydney Grine. And it's 5-0 after the bases loaded walk to make it 4-zip. That situation right there with O'Brien putting the ball in play makes it 5-0.
Yeah, that was one area where Kent State did show a little bit of weakness, was at dealing with some of these shorter infield balls. We saw some bunts be able to be turned into singles. Again, those points of conflict where you always want to try to hit the first lead-off runner and be able to stop them before they get to home plate or to third base. It's a risky gambit because you're not going to be able to pick up an out that could have easily been there at first base when you're just trying to find any way to get out of this inning.
Back to the top of the order, Bell Hummel whacks that one up the middle, a base hit. Westler scores. Here comes CC Keitel, and it's a 2-run single from Bell Hummel, and the Bobcats absolutely unloading right now on the Golden Flashes. 7-0, pure dominance.
The Ohio Bobcats right now are looking truly like a first-place team in the Mid-American Conference. When we talked about yesterday what is on the line in this series, it's the opportunity to have home field advantage. The Miami Redhawks have had that over the last couple of years, and that has helped them to have a lot of success. And the chance to potentially host this at OSF is huge, and that's got to be an inspiring factor for all these Cats players that are continuing to really flex their muscle here today.
Yasmin Logan takes a strike, 0-1. Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, even though we're still, it feels like a ways away from May 11th when the MAC tournament begins, every single game is incredibly important. And the Bobcats, the more they win, the better their chances are. Currently sitting 12-4 in MAC play. Yasmin Logan walked her first time up, and she knocks that one foul to the right side. 1 ball and 2 strikes. What an inning from the Bobcats. We mentioned that Kent State's been dealing with some injuries in the circle. A couple of pitchers, Kylie Ringler, who had a 3.14 ERA last season. She is not available due to injury as that misses in the dirt. And Bell Hummel scampers down to second base. So O'Brien at third, Hummel at second. Two balls and 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. And this is drilled on a line into left field off of Raymer's mitt. It trickles to the wall. O'Brien scores. Bell Hummel scores. And here comes Logan into third safely. The freight train continues. Cruise control. 9-0. For the Bobcats here in the bottom of the first inning. How about it, Cedric?
Peak efficiency right now from Ohio. It just seems ruthless almost at this point what they are able to do with their bats, making it sing out here in Athens.
It is a triple for Yasmin Logan. Her 3rd of this season. And here's Alexis Daw at the plate for the Bobcats. She takes ball 1. Well, we mentioned it at the top. Jenna Hall said Kent State came out and took it to us yesterday. They punched us in the mouth a little bit, figuratively speaking. And this, the exact opposite. They certainly have taken it to the Golden Flashes. 2-0. And the off speed drops in on the inside corner for a strike, 2-1. Alexis Daw doubled and scored in this inning earlier. She grounds this one softly. Schultz dives, throws from her knees. It's late. Another run scores Yasmin Logan. The avalanche continues as the Bobcats now leading 10-0.
Yep, still only one down in the inning, too, which is even more crazy. As now a chance here for Paoli to try to up the ante a little bit now. We're already in run rule territory for the Bobcats. Now all they have to do is just hold serve for 5 innings, and that'll be all.
Yeah. It is quite the start for Ohio as Analia Paoli, the designated player at the plate for the Bobcats. 1 ball and no strikes. And she pulls this one foul.
Good practice in scorekeeping today as well as we bat around the order, being able to keep the score as we broadcast. Definitely a nice little challenge there, being able to try to keep everything together.
Yeah, if you're scoring at home, it's been a busy start to this game. Paoli takes inside, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike.
Yes, and we may have just seen one of the best innings, still not over yet, best innings in Bobcats softball history in terms of scoring, in terms of defense. I mean, you have a 1-2-3 inning to start things off by Kylie Kofelt, and then you go in to right here in the first inning, 10 runs and counting probably.
Paoli takes inside, ball 4, and the inning continues.
For all the kids here in the building from Amesville, they're definitely getting their money's worth here today.
Amesville Elementary on the third base side in the stands, going nuts. And we're going to get another pitching change. And they're going to bring, it looks like they're bringing back Macy Ireland. So Ireland will re-enter. Again, there are not a lot of options for this Kent State team.
Yeah, it's just what a bad break for Kent State
Tough.
This year. Just having injury luck where when you're decimated at a position, there's only so much you can do. And when it comes to positions to be decimated at, you do not want to be down at pitcher. It's already tough on teams whenever you have only 2 or 3 pitchers healthy in the staff. That was Ohio last year. They only had 2 pitchers really healthy throughout the season. And if you have any times where maybe a starter is struggling, you just don't really have many other options to go to.
And Hoffner cranks this one into left center field. It bangs off the green wall. Hoffner slides in safely at second. It's an RBI double. Her second double of the game and of the inning. She has 3 RBIs in this inning. And Ohio leads 11-0. An inning to remember. And it's not done yet. There's only 1 out.
Remarkable. I'm just at a loss for words.
I haven't seen
at
anything
this
like
point.
this. Pretty crazy.
Aside from when I'm doing high school where you do have some big talent discrepancies on that level, but with teams that, for lack of better terms, are fairly equivalent in terms of talent overall, pretty darn impressive to see what the Cats have been able to do.
How does your score sheet look right now, by the way?
Oh, I mean, I'm trying to stay with it right now. That was a double there for Hoffner, 1 RBI. I'm trying to keep moving around, keep track of who has scored. Logan scored that last time. Dahl is
She came across.
Came across 2. Make it 2 RBIs underneath her. See,
So
right here having me crossed up a little bit.
Yeah, Paoli's at third. Emma Hoffner at second. 1 ball and 1 strike from Macy Ireland. And that is a called strike. It's 1-2.
Yeah, Ohio actually with a chance to try to bat around the order not once but twice. And all they need now is a home run to have hit the cycle as a team. in 1 inning. Saw a cycle from the Miami Marlins last night from Reyes.
1-2 misses inside, 2 balls and 2 strikes to Sydney Grine, the junior shortstop. 11-0 lead for the Bobcats. The 2-2 is pounced on the ground towards short. Mazanek vacuums it up, throws to first for an out. And safe at third is the call. Had to wait just a second. So there are 2 outs now. Paoli scores to make it 12-0. So Hoffner is at third. Shelby Westler bats for the second time in this inning, and she swings and lifts it into shallow left. A base hit for Westler, another run, and that ball gets away behind the first base bag, and Westler will charge all the way around to third, where she claps her hands and is energized as expected. 13-0, something we definitely didn't expect to see this early in this game. But at this point in time, when you factor in the Kent State pitching struggles, Ohio completely has taken advantage.
Yeah, now for Ohio right now is just being able to finish off this game and make sure you're ready for game 2, because they will be bringing back in more than likely Annalise Kelly to pitch that one, and she had a very quality start against the Bobcats. So it's great to be able to feel this win, but whenever you have these double headers, you just got to make sure you keep that nice level head, being like, all right, we got this great first win, we're happy about it, but let's finish the job.
Yeah, still in the bottom of the first inning. CC Keitel fouls that one off.
You can even look at the scoreboard out in center field. You don't have enough slots to account for double digits underneath the inning marks, but you do have enough, of course, with the runs at the in total. So Ohio breaking the scoreboard a bit today.
And that misses low. 2 outs. Bobcats lead 13-0. They have come out and just straight sprinted here, wasting no time. 1-2 misses outside. And now the count's even. 2 balls and 2 strikes to CC Keitel. Sophomore right fielder out of Hilliard-Davidson High School. 2-2, and it is a called strike 3, so that will finally end the inning, but not before Ohio nearly bats around twice. 13-0 Bobcats lead it to the second after this on Bobcat TV. All right, we welcome you back to the Ohio softball field. The Bobcats lead 13-0. It's not a typo, and these fans are absolutely loving it here in Athens. Back with Cedric Granger, I'm Sam Hyman here on Bobcat TV. Emily Lippy leads off for the Golden Flashes against Kylie Kofelt, who's pitching with a lot of run support.
Yeah, these players for Ohio, they're never going to forget that inning. never will, being able to put up that many runs where everybody in your order gets to score and just have smiles all around on this nice day in front of the fans as well, too. Now it's time just to be able to go and finish the game here. You got 4 innings that you just got to hold serve with the lead, as well as one of your most experienced pitchers in the circle right now in Kylie Kofelt. So right now it's just about managing the rest of the game and getting ready to go to the second game of the doubleheader as well, because we got to remember, we're playing 2 today.
Yeah, we are.
And in this game, I mean, starting with 13 runs, that's usually the amount of runs a team may have in both games of a doubleheader combined. They got it in 1 inning. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable indeed. And the mercy rule is 8 or more, an 8-run or better advantage after 5 innings. So this game at the moment is, if it stands, will end after 5. As the count is 2 balls and 1 strike to Emily Lippy. Leads the team with 9 homers and 22 RBIs. And she knocks this high in the air, carrying into center. And that is out number 1 here in the top of the second inning.
Good track down there by Yasmin Logan, facing up against the sunlight as well. Always tough sometimes when the sun's high up in the air in these closer to noon type games. But being able to bring that down, tracking it down well. No wonder Coach Jenna Hall says she is quite dynamic out at center field.
Yeah, very, very much so. In the preseason, Jenna Hall talked about how solid of a center fielder and how reliable Yasmin Logan is in that spot out in the outfield. As Delaney Robeson, the center fielder, at the plate for the Golden Flashes. 0-1 the count with 1 out, and that misses outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. A lot of time for Kylie Kofelt in the dugout, Cedric, as a pitcher in that situation where you've got to sit, wait, probably try to loosen up, stay warm, because 13-run inning, it's not a 5-minute inning. That was nearly a 25, 30-minute bottom of the first.
Yeah, you still almost got to keep yourself kind of warmed up, try to keep the adrenaline of being present in the circle. But if there's any player that would still be able to manage a situation like that, it is the ever-experienced Kylie Kofelt, who earlier this season got to have the experience of playing her former team, and the Duke Blue Devils did not go too great overall, but I know it must have been a really cool feeling for her to get to go against a team in the place where she graduated from.
Yeah, graduated from Duke with a bachelor's degree in evolutional anthropology, which is quite impressive. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Delaney Robeson. And that one drops in on the inside corner, called strike 3. 3 strikeouts for Robeson, or pardon, for Kofelt. Robeson retired, and there's 2 down. And this is our player to watch for Kent State, Becca Zacharich, who finally comes to the plate. Cedric, the freshman, who had quite the day yesterday.
Yeah, she was fantastic. She went 3 for 3 yesterday, and what really most impressed me about her play was that her hits weren't all to just one area. She had 1 hit to right field, 1 hit to left field, and 1 hit to center, as well as driving in a run while doing that, being able to keep the defense on their toes and mixing it all around. You can't even have any sort of shift to adjust for that type of thing.
0-1 the count. Kofelt delivers, and it's pulled foul, first base side. Count is still 0-2. We mentioned Kofelt transferred from Duke, her second season at Ohio. She has been the primary pitcher in Game 2s during every MAC series this season. Right behind Skip Miller, the ace of the staff. But there's more depth in the circle this season for the Bobcats, much more depth this season than last.
They really needed that, Sam, as well, too. I mean, last year when you only have really two healthy pitchers, it can be very tricky where, you know, you need one player who's going to have to start for 2 games in these series, and then you have one player that's going to start in the middle of these series. But adding Keegan Moore out of Ironton, of course, a local Southeast Ohio school, which is always great to see when athletes come here from Southeast Ohio schools. And then Ellie Green also being able to transfer in from Jackson College. Those are 2 really great additions to the staff for Ohio. And chances are we'll probably see some of them in this game this afternoon.
Yeah, this game, perhaps, maybe the second game. Ellie Green, a 3.50 ERA. Moore, a 3.71 ERA. Right field, CC Keitel comes up with a diving catch in right. How about it? What an effort from CC Keitel as that ball was falling and falling fast. We go to the bottom of the second inning when we come back. 13-0, Ohio in cruise control right now against Kent State. All right, Lauren Uhas will step to the plate to lead off the bottom of the second inning. Uhas replaced Tori O'Brien at second base in the top half of the second. So this will be an opportunity for Lauren to record her first hit of the season. She's played in 28 games and only 9 at-bats. So Uhas with an opportunity here right out of the gates here in the bottom of the second inning, and can free swing a little bit. Up 13-0, why not?
Yeah, give an opportunity here. She played a ton last season, made a good amount of starts this year, kind of coming in as a pinch runner in a lot of situations as well. Once again, a player from Pennsylvania, which has been a nice little recruiting ground for the Ohio Bobcats, with a couple players from that state, including Uhas herself and Yasmin Logan as well from Pennsylvania. And also had a family member, her father, played for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
How about that? Jenna Hall has ties with that state as well. Spent the last 3 seasons at Pittsburgh as an assistant coach. So certainly knows that area. Great coaching staff on the Ohio side. Both coaching staffs, actually. We talked to both head coaches, Jenna Hall, throughout the season, and Eric Oakley. Uhas swings and misses. 1 ball and 2 strikes. One ball and 2 strikes, the count to Lauren Uhas. And that misses outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. We'll get you some defensive changes from the Golden Flashes here in just a moment. And that is on the inside corner, called strike 3. And that is a much different start to the bottom of the first, then the bottom of the second, I should say, with Macy Ireland getting the first batter retired.
Yeah, it's like Ireland has had a nice chance to have a reset a little bit here. She started the game off originally, now coming back into the game after a little relief after Penner's stint, and having 2 strikeouts in a row, pretty darn good. It's almost like, hey, you know what? It was a bad first third of an inning. I'm coming back into the game. Fresh start, new start. Nothing really to lose now in this game. It's already 13-0, so let's just go out there, no pressure on, and let's learn.
Yeah, being able to hit that reset button and come out and then come back in. Much better start here as she is returned. 1 ball and 1 strike. And that misses outside. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, mass substitutions
we
all
have
over the place.
4 new players who have checked into the game for Kent State. 3 checked that, 1 just swapped positions. As this is knocked foul to the left side, 2-2. Reagan Schultz moves from second to short. Sydney Shamo is the left fielder. Jess Dodd is the right fielder. Kennedy Cole is now catching for the Golden Flashes and replaces Bree Despinese.
So it looks like Libler at second base.
And that is grounded to the first baseman, and Becca Zachrich makes the play, so 2 up, 2 down. Bryn Libler, yeah, the freshman Bryn Libler, the final substitution to give to you. She is at second. Here's Yasmin Logan. A triple and a walk in the first inning. She was busy. 1 ball and no strikes.
Yeah, certainly already 2 runs to start off the day. That's exactly how you want to do things here coming out for this doubleheader. So looks like Reagan Farmer warming up in the on-deck circle for the Cats.
And that is on the outside corner for a called strike. 1-1 to Yasmin Logan.
Let's say this is a great uniform matchup, very aesthetically pleasing on a nice day like this. The nice light blues for Kent State here today. Always a sharp look in baseball and in softball. And Ohio with their green uniforms today, looking great.
Yeah, with the black and white stripes on both sleeves. 2 balls and a strike to Yasmin Logan. And that misses outside, and the count is 3-1.
See a lot of athletes, too, making their way here. We had some football guys jump into the mix. We already had field hockey players out here. I mean, yesterday we saw Coach Bowles from the basketball team as well.
Yeah, we did. Why not when the weather is this perfect? 3-1 is up and in, ball 4. And with 2 outs, this will bring up Reagan Farmer. Who has one of the best personalities on the team, Reagan Farmer. She is fun to be around, very energetic, sarcastic in a great way.
Yeah, she's actually running for a student council position here. I believe the treasurer position at Ohio University for the entire school. I've seen her signs as well throughout it. Hope she has a really good vote there. But yeah, Reagan, one of the players that has really come in certain situations, including that Marshall game from last year, got a big-time hit in her freshman season. Now working into her sophomore year, getting an opportunity in this Kent State series. Is one of her favorite athletes is Morgan Gino, who played from 2016 to 2019 here at Ohio University, and she did a little bit of everything in her career, hitting .302 with 129 RBIs. Definitely a true Ohio great to look up to.
Yeah, she's really, even though she's only a sophomore, she's such a leader on this team. When she doesn't play, she's very vocal and very much involved on campus, as you mentioned. As she pulls this one foul up the third base line, the count is still 0-2. Farmer on the season, 9 for 40 at the plate. She has started 7 games. But yeah, I saw her taking batting practice. This was Monday, so before the series, and she was absolutely crushing the ball, both over the center field, right field, left field wall. No matter how you sliced it, she was showing off that power, as this is knocked on the ground to second, and that will end the bottom of the second inning. So we're done with 2 innings. Ohio leads 13-0. Impressive start here in game 2 of our 3-game series. Back in a moment on Bobcat TV. Good vibes here at the Ohio softball field. If you're a Bobcat fan, there's Rufus with the kids from Ames Elementary School. They have had the time of their lives today. Cedric witnessing Ohio jump out to this impressive 13-0 lead over Kent State. They're in cruise control right now.
They certainly are, being able to really give a knockout blow in that bottom of the first inning. Now it's all about just being able to soak in the atmosphere and have some fun playing softball, getting some new players all in the mix as well. I'm excited to see some of these young Bobcats get opportunities, and there's one of them right there, Oski Miller.
And it's over to first in time to retire number 22 for Kent State, Jess Dodd, who checked into the game. Reagan Schultz steps in. She started this game at second base and moved to short with the slew of defensive changes. Osti Miller, as you mentioned, Cedric, she is now at shortstop, replacing Sydney Grind. Made that nice play to start the top of the 3rd inning. And Schultz is fooled. That is strike 2.
Yeah, Osti Miller has some really great potential as well. Of course, her and her sister Skip were absolutely dynamic at Bradford High School. And again, has that winning pedigree where in 2021 they won a state championship.
0-2 pitch misses outside. And the count's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Reagan Schultz. Popped up to the right side and foul. Count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes as Ohio right now with a 13-0 advantage. Looking to remain on top in the Mid-American Conference standings, sitting at 12-4.
They are. They've got to keep winning, though. Western Michigan and Miami each with a win last night. Actually, even going through some of those scores, Ohio took down Kent State, of course, 3-2. Western Michigan 10, Ball State 2. Ball State is in that mix for a tournament bid as well, so that was a very good win for Western Michigan at home. And then it was Bowling Green losing to Miami 9-0.
2-2 is bounced to Lauren Uhas, who fields and throws to first. And that is out number 2. Kylie Kofelt has retired the first 8 batters she's faced.
And then continuing on, Akron defeats Buffalo 4-1. Toledo takes down Central Michigan. So after CMU got the win in the series against Ohio, the Rockets take them down 5-1. And then the only team that didn't play a conference game, of course, when you have an odd number of teams, you always have to have one. It was Northern Illinois splitting a doubleheader against the Beacons of Valparaiso.
1 ball and no strikes the count to the number 9 hitter, Sydney Shamo, who checked in as a defensive replacement. That is ball 2 to Shamo.
Yeah, Shamo getting a chance to get an at-bat here. She was in as a pinch runner a lot throughout this season, which is very common practice to be able to get your really fast players who are a little bit younger a chance to be able to get used to the base paths on the college level. And you see that trend happen not only with Kent State and Ohio, of course, but all over the entire NCAA landscape.
Shamo has only 4 at-bats on the season, to your point. Primarily used on the base paths. She is looking for her first hit of the season. 2-1 is line foul down the left field line. And it'll be 2 balls and 2 strikes. With 2 down, Kylie Kofelt has retired the first 8 batters she's faced in this game. And give her some credit, because it's not like she's been able to have that rhythm of knowing, all right, I'm going to get back out there pretty quickly. She had to sit in the dugout for quite a bit, with Ohio putting up 13 runs in the first inning as this is pulled foul.
Yeah, it's another aspect of being able to have a strong mentality in the circle and just having good control of the game. There are different dynamics, different flows for each game. This one, your offense is absolutely firing on all cylinders right now, so you have a little bit of wind behind your sails knowing that your team is up, but being able to be like, hey, okay, I still need to do my job. And just the pride, like, hey, I got a chance here to try to put together either a no-hitter or just to be able to shut things down. As there's an opportunity there.
Austin Miller can't make the play in time. Great effort, though, from Austin Miller to at least stop that, prevent it from going to the outfield. She gave it all she had right there. That's the first base runner of the game for the Golden Flashes. That will go down as an infield single for Sydney Shamo. So her first hit of the season and her 5th at bat. Again, it's the little thing sometimes. If you're Kent State, you're down by this much. Got to find a way to at least take something positive from this game.
Yeah, and especially since you have to play another game right after this. That's kind of the trippy part about all of this, where it's like, hey, you know what? No matter what the heck the score is, it's only going to count as just 1 loss on the scoreboard, barring any sort of comeback. And with that, it's like, hey, you know what? A win is a win, a loss is a loss, but we can come back and try to salvage the series a little bit.
Yeah, mentally, you really have to hit that reset button. 1 ball and 1 strike. And a jam shot rolling towards Miller. Vacuums it up, fires across to first, and Daw comes off the first base bag, so everybody's safe as the inning continues.
Some pretty good at-bats here for Kent State in the top of the third inning, just being able to do a good job of being contact hitters right now. It seems like being able to kind of run into it, finding ways to just get good contact on the ball and force the infielders to make a play on you. And with a lot of these players being speedsters, having coming in as pinch runners, they already really have that great wherewithal on the base paths and really good speed, and we're starting to see a little bit of that right now.
Bryn Libler, who replaced Julia Mazanek, she is at first base with what goes down as a fielding error, or throwing error, I should say, on the shortstop, Austin Miller. A check swing and a throw down to third. Wessler, her tag is late. So Shamo gets over to third base safely, and Libler stays at first. Kennedy Cole at the plate for the Golden Flashes. Replaced Bree Despinese behind home plate. And that misses outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
When kind of going up and down the entire roster for Kent State, you see a lot of players that are listed as a utility player and really having that adaptability where most of these players, they were also either pitchers in high school or also were some of the best hitters on their team, so they can sometimes bring that versatility onto a softball roster.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Kennedy Cole. Ohio had to fight in game 1. They were down 2-0 and came back to win 3-2. In this game, a much different story, as they have opened up a 13-0 lead from the jump. 13 runs in the bottom of the first, as that is a called strike 3. Kylie Kofelt will set down Kennedy Cole. And it is 3 shutout innings for the Duke transfer, Kylie Kofelt, in her second season with the Bobcats. We'll be back in a moment on Bobcat TV. Analia Paoli leads off here as we head to the bottom of the third inning alongside Cedric Granger. I'm Sam Hyman. Glad you're with us here on Bobcat TV. An umbrella is needed, not for the rain, but for the sunshine. Of course, trying to stay in the shade a little bit. Very smart move by the fans.
Yeah, very, very crafty there. Maybe also to protect from all the softballs that are flying around as well. As Bobcats, they've been hitting it all over the yard, mostly in fair territory, as they are up 13-0 right now against Kent State, and they have the ever so dangerous Analia Paoli up to lead.
Yeah, she's got 6 homers, 10 doubles. Both of those lead the squad. Well, one of them homers, 6 of them tied with Yasmin Logan, who also has 6. As the 0-1 pitch misses outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 defensive replacement. We've been saying that quite a bit. There have been a plethora of defensive replacements on both sides of the field. Jalen Young is now catching for the Golden Flashes as Paoli rips that one into left field. And she has her first hit of the game. She came into this game hitless in her last 12 at-bats. That has to be a nice breath of fresh air because she is one of the best hitters on this team to get one right here.
Yeah, you knew it was a matter of time. I even see Coach Jenna Hall giving her a nice little hand over there in the dugout. Is when you have really great players like that, you can only hold them down for so long. They're eventually going to break through and get back on it. And hopefully for the Bobcats, this starts another strong hit streak for Paoli.
Emma Hoffner takes low, and the count's 1 ball and no strikes. Hoffner has been incredibly busy today. 2 doubles and 3 RBIs for the sophomore catcher. That misses low, 2 balls and no strikes. Hoffner hitting .337 coming into today. That certainly, if this trend continues, that will skyrocket even higher. 2-0 is fouled back and headed towards the bleachers.
See, that's why you got to bring your umbrella.
And your glove too, right?
Of course. Get a souvenirs. It's always great environment. The people at Ohio Athletics do such a fantastic job getting these games going, where they had cornhole right behind us.
Oh, yeah.
Rufus, of course, in the house. Just a really great atmosphere to have a good time.
There's a ground ball to the shortstop, and it's bobbled. Trouble for the Golden Flashes as Paoli slides into third base, and Hoffner over to second with nobody out. Ohio back in business. And that, again, with some of these defensive replacements, that was the shortstop, Reagan Schultz, who's a freshman. She started at second base yesterday, started at second base today, and here, really difficult situation for her moving to her right.
Yeah, that's why they did call it a hit. Okay, they will, I think, assess it as a hit and an error, but still, when you're moving from second base over the shortstop, it is a little bit of a different change in what you're doing. Getting it over to first base definitely is going to take a better throw and just being able to be on the mark with it, especially because you have to worry about more things. You'll have to worry about third, play at second, play at first. Usually when you're sitting at second base, you can either just go to first or second. So it's a different skill set. And whenever you see players kind of moving into those positions, this is kind of where coaches may want to see that player eventually move in their career. So that's something you can expect from Schultz once Mazanek's career, which has been fantastic, comes to a close.
Yeah, Mazanek, the senior shortstop. But, yes, it's very good for Reagan Schultz to try multiple positions because she's only a freshman. Eric Oakley told us earlier in the week that Schultz is somebody who he knew would be very good at this level. She's just been thrown into the fire earlier than expected and had a lot more opportunities this quickly in her career than maybe he envisioned at the beginning of the season. 1-2, lifted in the air to left field. That is down. 1 run scores. Hoffner will stop at third. Now the ball gets away. Hoffner thought about heading home, but she will stay put. And that is 14 on the board. Austin Miller puts together a nice piece of hitting going the opposite way for the Bobcats.
We're going to get to see some players grow up in front of our eyes. And you're just looking at the future. We're going to be having broadcasts 1 or 2 years down the line. We're fortunately graduated by then in terms of not being able to call Ohio softball at the time. But Sam Hyman sticking around potentially for a while. Be able to see these players be the faces of Ohio softball coming up. It is great to see that, again, for both teams, future is bright. The sun being out today is not the only reason why you'll need sunglasses here today.
Well put, my friend. Austin Miller, who has not got much playing time in the 2023 season. She delivered there for her 10th hit of the season. Now Shelby Westler is up. Freshman. Been on base twice today. That is low. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Wessler.
Still nobody down in the inning as well. As didn't mention it earlier, but Ohio just in this inning, they reached 10 hits. They're now at 11 right now.
1-2 pitch is hammered down the left field line and over Ohio's bullpen. Wessler got all of that one.
What power.
Yeah. She's got 2 home runs on the season, does Shelby Wessler. It came in the same game on March 26th against Bowling Green where she had 4 RBIs as that gets away from the catcher, Young. Everybody stays put. Still nobody out in the inning. A 14-0 lead for the Bobcats. A 2-2 pitch is upstairs. 3 balls and 2 strikes. We're going back and looking at some of the previous matchups between Ohio and Kent State. These 2 teams, of course, met in the MAC championship game, final game in 2017. But almost 5 years ago to the exact day as Wessler fouls this one left side. April 11th, 2018. Bobcats won 22-7. So that was literally almost 5 years ago today. And we're 1 day off. It's April 12th.
Yeah, 29 runs in a game is absolutely crazy. And the fact that it was supposed to be canceled, 29 combined runs, I should say, in the game is absolutely insane. And that game was actually canceled originally and then moved upwards to April 11th. And now having that be a commemoration of a couple of years ago, 5 of them. And we'll see some of the players that were pretty instrumental in that game. Wouldn't be surprised to hear if it was Morgan Gino who got into the game and got some things done, given that is Reagan Farmer's hero.
Well, in that game, that 22-7 victory, as that's fouled off, 22-7 victory back in 2018, Alex Day had 8 RBIs, which is second most in MAC history in a single game. So that was quite impressive. 3 balls and 2 strikes with nobody out here in the bottom of the 3rd. And Wessler pops it up, third base side, drifting foul. Austin Miller at second, Emma Hoffner at third. And here comes the payoff once again, and Wessler high, chopper to short, and it's bobbled. Schultz once again, a miscue. Throws to third though, makes up for it, gets an out. Wessler's safe at second. A run does score. Emma Hoffner makes it 15-0. And Wessler ends up at second. A lot to unpack there.
Certainly. Being able to at least figure out a way to pick up 1 out there by Schultz. Good presence of mind to at least try to make something happen. Despite dropping the ball, you were able to be like, hey, there's still outs to be made. She was able to pick off 1 runner at third, but that's 15 runs, which I want to mention, of course, this is the team high for runs in a game so far this season. Before that, I believe it was the Ball State game, which they scored 13 runs in that series for game number 1, and now sitting at 15 today.
CC Keitel pops this one up first base side. Little trickery right there. Catch made, though. And Wessler advances to third base. Nobody was there to cover. So Keitel is retired. Becca Zachridge making the catch over at first. And here's Lauren Uhas, who will step in for the Bobcats.
Good base running there from Wessler, just being able to pick up the shift where it seemed like the whole infield almost caved in to try to go for that foul ball, and nobody was there to pick up any sort of play to third base.
Uhas looking for her first hit of the season. Her second at-bat today as she swings and strokes this one into shallow left field. There it is. Lauren Uhas with her first hit of the season, and she gets an RBI out of it as well as Wessler comes around to score. And the Bobcats lead it 16-0. So as we mentioned, Ohio put up 22 on the scoreboard nearly exactly 5 years ago to the day, or just one day off. They scored 22 runs on April 11th, 2018. Most runs in school history in a game. They're inching closer.
They are. There's definitely an opportunity here. 16-0 now as we have a new player into the game, Emily Walker. Emily Walker last year got to play on the same team with her sister, Tori Walker. Both pretty dynamic for the Cats.
And she'll replace Belle Hummel at the top of the order. Emily Walker making her 22nd appearance in a game. She's made 5 starts this season and is 1 for 17 at the plate. And pulls this foul off the pole.
Got to be the Happy Gilmore rule there. If you hit it off the pole and goes back in fair, that should be a fair ball in my opinion.
Now that would make things wild, right?
Wouldn't it?
You really have to be on your toes. And Walker swings and misses for strike 3, but Ohio adds some more runs, and they lead this thing 16-0 over Kent State as we head to the 4th inning. After this on Bobcat TV. All right, we resume action here as we start the top of the 4th inning. Back with Cedric Granger, I'm Sam Hyman. The mercy rule is in effect right now with Ohio out in front comfortably 16-0. So if things stay the way they are, the Bobcats would be able to win this game in 5 innings. As that pitch misses low for ball 1 to Alexandra Whitmore. Not a bad outing at all in the circle. Heck, a brilliant one from Kylie Kofeld. Had it not been that infield single from Sydney Shamo, she'd be tossing a no-no here, Cedric.
Yeah, but still has a chance to be able to have a shutout here today. And pitchers, they often take a lot of pride in that situation. You know, when you give up 1 or 2 runs, okay, you just want to try to limit damage control. But if you have a chance for a shutout here, you want to complete that game. So nice opportunity here for Kofeld. They need to pitch 2 defensive frames here to close out the game.
Here comes the 1-1 pitch to Whitmore, and she takes outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Ohio actually had a game earlier this season where they did win 16-0. That was against the Dayton Flyers down in Richmond, Kentucky, as part of the EKU Colonel Classic. It has been a wild schedule. You look at this Ohio schedule from top to bottom. They have played a lot of talented teams. Central Arkansas, who's 28-8 overall. LSU 33-8. Utah, they're 27-8. Duke, Campbell, as Whitmore lines this one past Yasmin Logan. That'll head towards the base of the wall, and Alexandra Whitmore leads off the top of the 4th inning with a double.
Yeah, we know just how talented she is. No surprise that she would eventually find herself on base this afternoon. A great piece of hitting right down center field and in a spot that was just outside the reach of Yasmin Logan.
But yeah, those 5 teams I mentioned, Central Arkansas, LSU, Utah, Duke, and Campbell, the many of challenging teams on the schedule that really helped Ohio get to this point where they're really competing in the Mid-American Conference and at the top of the league right now.
Yeah, you always want to schedule tough, and that's something that coaches all over the league have been talking about. We heard it from not only Coach Hall, but also Coach Kumar of Miami, being able to schedule as challenging of opponents as possible.
Wessler knocks it down, rockets it over to first. Nice play, and that's the first out as Emily Lippy is retired.
But we also can talk about the Ohio State game as a nice challenge in the middle of the slate.
Oh, yeah.
And that's another important thing with MAC having an odd number of teams. There's always going to be one team that is not going to get a MAC series or a MAC game, whether they can take a bye week or they find a non-conference opponent. We see that happen often where each of these 2 squads, they went and played Ohio State in this season. And then, of course, Miami coming up this weekend, they have a big one as they're going to host the Oxford Invitational, where they will host number 1, 36-1 coming into this week, Oklahoma Sooners, that will go to Oxford for possibly one of the biggest games in Mid-American Conference history.
Yeah, very cool that gets to happen. Good notoriety for the league, no question about it. And to your point about that Ohio State game, I mentioned the 5 teams that were tough on Ohio's schedule. Didn't win any of those, but they did beat Ohio State 1-0 in 9 innings during the midweek. As this is chopped on the ground towards the shortstop, Miller throws to first in time, and that is out number 2. Whitmore moves over to third. Now Becca Zachrich, our player to watch on the Golden Flashes side, steps in, had her first career 3-hit game yesterday.
Almost made it the 4th hit of the week, but she had her hit over to right field. Keidel made a fantastic sliding catch.
Oh, yeah, that was a brilliant catch from CC Keidel. Got a great jump on that softball.
Also some tough opponents for Kent State as they went up against teams like Penn State and Georgia Tech, as well as Coach Hall's former team in the Pittsburgh Panthers, in which they won against Pitt 6-3.
0-2 the count. Kylie Kofelt, 1 strike away from finishing off 4 shutout innings.
Also played Michigan as well.
That misses high. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Talk about some of the recent success. Both of these programs have had a lot of success recently in the MAC. Ohio won the MAC tournament in 2018 with a 40-win season. They went 20-3 in conference play. 1-2, and that hits Becca Zachrich. So the inning continues, but yeah, 2018, Ohio ended up advancing to the Knoxville Regional. They won their first 2 NCAA regional games ever against Monmouth and James Madison. And that 40-win season, the 2nd most wins ever in a season. And then Kent State, of course, the year before in 2017, they won the MAC beating Ohio, advancing to the NCAA tournament with a 33-win season, and beat Oregon State in the Waco Regional. So when MAC teams enter the NCAA tournament, look out. They have proven they can sneak up on some high major squads. Grounded to Miller at short. She'll chuck it over to first, and that will retire the side, as Jess Dodd has grounded out twice today. We head to the bottom of the fourth inning. All Bobcats 16-0 over the Kent State Golden Flashers on Bobcat TV. All right, we welcome you back to the Ohio softball field here in Athens. Alongside Cedric Ranger, I'm Sam Hyman. And we have another new player entering the game for the Ohio Bobcats. It is number 24, Maddie Wilcox, who has only got 8 at-bats on the season. A great opportunity for her in this game. Get some playing time. Sophomore from Grove City, Ohio. Check swing did go around, 1-1.
Yeah, has had a couple of at-bats on the year, batting 125 in those opportunities. Her grandfather, Rich Greger, played soccer and wrestled for the Bobcats from 1959 to 1963. So player with Ohio Bobcats in her blood.
You always love to see that. There's a lot of players both on the softball and the baseball teams here at Ohio. I can think of A.J. Roush on the baseball team. He had a bunch of family members. His parents went to Ohio. Makes it a little bit easier and probably some convincing. Maybe not, but either way, it's good to follow in your family's footsteps.
It sure is. It's certainly one of those factors that players keep in mind when being able to choose a program. And oftentimes, Kent State and Ohio, they compete for players. That's strike number 2. But Kent State and Ohio, and well as Miami, they kind of look through the travel teams, such as the Ohio Lasers, Ohio Outlaws, Bandits. Maddie Wilcox, she's actually a member formerly of the Ohio Lasers and is listed on their team alum site.
As Wilcox fouls that one back. And the count is full, 3-2. So a little good at bat here from Maddie Wilcox. Just coming on. What a job this Ohio staff has done in year 1 from top to bottom, as the 3-2 is swung on and missed, strike 3. And that is out number 1 in the bottom of the 4th inning. Look at Jenna Hall in her first season. Lily Piper, an assistant coach. She's also in her first season. Derek Brown, we highlighted these 3 coaches with a ton of experience. Yesterday, we mentioned it on the broadcast if you were joining us. They have all come together so quickly, and it has shown in the win-loss record. Sometimes it doesn't when you take over a program first year, maybe some growing pains, but the Bobcats behind Coach Hall, Coach Piper, Coach Brown, and their staff have not missed a single beat. They have taken this thing and absolutely gone for a sprint.
Well, it certainly has helped that they have an unbelievable amount of depth. This is a team that really overachieved last year, got to the MAC tournament, and just being able to make that top 4 slot. It's not easy to do that where when you got 11 teams, 4 spots can be pretty tight, but to be able to figure out a way to get in, it gives so much valuable experience for the next year where you have that confidence that you know, hey, we've already proven it. We can make the MAC tournament. We can compete with the top teams in the league. Heck, we are the top team in the league, and now Ohio sitting at the top of the standings. That is the mentality.
Yeah, the confidence is there, and it's been really fun to watch this season as that misses high, 1 ball and 2 strikes. One of the things Coach Piper, the assistant coach I alluded to earlier, mentioned to me a couple weeks ago is, you know, when I asked her about her relationship with Jenna Hall. Of course, Coach Hall was an assistant coach at Ohio State when Lily Piper was a player, was a 3-time All-American. I said, what's your relationship like with Coach Hall? And she said, it's been kind of funny sometimes. I'll give some advice to some of our girls, and Coach Hall will then later on give similar advice, the exact same. So it's almost like an echo. They really have meshed and bonded together so quickly and have the same type of mentality as Dawes strikes out for the 2nd out of the inning. So they're on the same page. There's no question about it with their messaging and their words of wisdom and advice.
And they've been doing a good job, even in the fall season, which was fantastic that they got chances to play a couple of games. You got to really gel during that season when you have a new coaching staff, and just everybody really seems to be on the same page and going towards one central goal.
And that is a 1-2-3 inning for Kent State. For the first time in this game, Bobcats go down in order. So it's 16-0 Ohio leads, and they are 3 outs away from taking this first game of a doubleheader. We'll be back in just a moment. Madison Hirschberger will come in to hit for the 8th spot in the order for the Kent State Golden Flashes as we welcome you back to the Ohio softball field with Cedric Granger. I'm Sam Hyman. Ellie Green is the new pitcher in the circle for the Bobcats. JUCO transfer, started her career at Francis Marion, fires that one outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Green making her 4th appearance in the circle this season, just 6 innings of work for the sophomore from the state of Michigan. Great opportunity for Green to get some work in a game, in live game action, much different obviously than practice. And for her to get this chance with a massive lead gives her an opportunity to really just focus on herself and not worry too much about.
Yeah, well done by both coaches to really bring in a lot of different players into the mix. This is valuable experience that you never know when your number may be called later on in the season, because we look at Kent State, they had some of the injury problems that can come down. You also have times where players are going to graduate. That's inevitable with every team in the Mid-American Conference. So being able to give your players tons of experience, they're not going to be coming in as green when it comes to their first start, for lack of a better term, with Ellie Green.
I see what you did there. Hirschberger swings and misses, so it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Macy Ireland, her final line, 3 innings, 9 hits, 10 runs, 8 earned, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. She started the game, then came out and re-entered, and was a lot better when she re-entered after giving up that big 13 spot in the first.
Certainly is. It takes a lot of mental toughness to get back out there on the circle, knowing that, hey, oh my goodness, I gave up so many runs. What are you going to do? Your mind's kind of scrambling in that moment, but to come back in and make something happen is huge.
And that is just fouled down the left field line. So we'll do it again at 3 balls and 2 strikes. You mentioned the word mental, Cedric, in today's doubleheader. More than just a doubleheader, it's the Morgan's Message Mental Health Awareness Game, which strives to eliminate the stigma surrounding mental health. Morgan Rogers was a Duke women's lacrosse player who died by suicide, unfortunately, on July of 2019. And this day, and just every day, we certainly stress and emphasize the importance of mental health on campus.
Yeah, and these players, they do the exact same thing where during our Monday meetings we'd have for Ohio Bobcat TV as well as ESPN, those sort of meetings, we would see a lot of the players filing into the Convocation Center to have meetings where they can sit down and talk about mental health, which I thought was really cool that a lot of the athletes on campus are taking leadership roles and really being intentional about it. And I love that Ohio Athletics has incorporated that into a lot of their programming between Morgan's Message and Passion Works. You see some really great things that are being brought into the limelight by Ohio Athletics. So hats off to everyone involved in being able to spread Morgan's message, of course, originally with Morgan's teammates at Duke as well as her family.
Yeah, you can head to www.morgansmessage.org to learn more. But yes, together we can change the stigma surrounding mental health. Every school, it feels like, across the country doing something with regards to that, as this is fouled off down the left field line. CeCe Keitel, by the way, moves to center field in this inning. And then the other defensive change for the Bobcats, Wilcox is the left fielder. Maddie Wilcox playing left field now for Ohio. That misses inside, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sydney Shamo at the plate for Kent State. She singled earlier in this game. Has just 1 of 2 hits for the Golden Flashes here today. There will be another game coming up to close out this series. The Bobcats with a chance to sweep this series. It would be the 4th MAC opponent they would sweep already in 2023 if they can close the door here. 2-2, and that's fouled and back towards the netting. That hit off of Hoffner's face mask, so Jenna Hall walking over to check on Emma to make sure she's okay. Sometimes that can be a bit scary. It wasn't as nearly as hard off the face mask as there was an incident at the Ohio State game where the home plate umpire had a ball deflect off his face mask, and he unfortunately had to be removed from the game. And there were only 2 umpires in that game for the last third of it. But looks like she's okay. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And that is poked foul. Ellie Green with another chance at a strikeout here. Transferred from Jackson College. That's a JUCO. Also Francis Marion fires that one high. And Ellie Green at Jackson College. She was named to the all-tournament team and an honorable mention in 2022 and helped lead Jackson College to a regional championship a season ago. Here's a ground ball off of Wessler's glove, and that will trickle close to the second base bag. Everybody's safe, so Shamo is aboard for the second time. And Kent State has runners at first and second with nobody out.
Yeah, trying to get something going for Kent State. If they want to try to push this game into another frame, they will have to get this game within 8 or under 8, so they have to get at least 9 runs to keep this game going.
Yeah, the mercy rule. 8 runs after 5. We are in the top of the 5th. Ohio needs 3 outs to finish off the Golden Flashes. Bryn Libler at the plate, the freshman for Kent State. Quick visit from Emma Hoffner with Ellie Green.
Yep, nice opportunity to try to get onto the same page here. Still quite a bit of cushion for this Bobcats team, which, again, had one of the most unbelievable first innings I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, it came in such a hurry, too, right? We certainly anticipated Ohio would respond after yesterday getting down early 2-0, but they not only responded, they made an absolute statement with not just runs, but 13 runs in an inning. And 16 runs on the board right now, which is 6 shy of tying a school record for runs in a game. Had 22 runs in a game against Kent State back in 2018, as we alluded to it earlier.
Yep, tying that Ohio-Dayton game that you referred to earlier.
Yeah.
Which is the most runs scored by any team in the MAC season.
Yeah, here in 2023, as that misses high, 3 balls and 1 strike.
Other teams on that list, Bowling Green put up 15 runs against Tennessee Tech back on March 4th. And then Ball State put up 15 against Kent State. So Kent State on the wrong side of a couple of those big run scorers. Is there's another runner aboard. Bases are juiced for the Flashes.
Yeah, so Bryn Libler is aboard. And this will bring up Jalen Young, the sophomore catcher. Kent State has used 3 catchers in this game. Kennedy Cole, Bree Despines, and Jalen Young. Everybody's basically emptied their bench today, both sides, as Derek Brown having a brief conversation with Ellie Green. We touched on Derek Brown yesterday, first season, pitching coach. I mean, he has done it all, Cedric. 30 years and then some of coaching experience to the table. 28 as a head coach, travel ball, high school, college level at 4-year and JUCO, NPF, the pro level. He was at Toledo last season as an assistant coach, and he also runs a mental performance. He's also a mental performance coach through his own business, which is very impressive.
Yeah, man of many talents there, being able to bring that experience. It's something that you want in a really well-rounded coaching staff. You want to have people that can really relate to the players, possibly former players. You also want some coaches that are in there would just have the raw experience and the rapport of having that.
Here's a fly ball into dead center. CeCe Keidel, her first step was in, now retreats and makes the catch. And the Golden Flashes finally on the scoreboard. The shutout is over, as Reagan Schultz will score to make it 16-1. The sacrifice fly is executed by Jalen Young.
Hats off to Kent State there for not giving in. I mean, you know, you're down 16-0. You know you have another game coming. You could easily just give up in that situation, but continuing to fight to the very end, and they're rewarded with a run.
Alexandra Whitmore takes outside, 1 ball and no strikes. A reminder, we'll have game 3 coming up in just a little bit, shortly after the conclusion of this one. Bobcats 2 outs away from victory, but that will have to wait as Whitmore is hit by a pitch. And she will head down to first. So runners at first, second, and third for the power threat, Emily Lippy, who has been unplugged in this series. She has 9 homers, 0 for 2 today, though, for the number 4 hitter, 22 RBIs as well. That leads the team as she fouls that one back to the right side.
Picking some nice encouragement as well from her team in the dugout. We're chanting her name.
Yeah, you got to love that, you know, just in softball in general. Both dugouts always engaged. They've got their chants down to a T. It's all memorized. Repetition. Got to love it. 0-1. Lifted into shallow right center field. CC Keitel. Oh, it bobbles off of her mitt and drops. Everybody's safe. Station to station softball there as Lippy reaches. And Shamo scores. Now it's 16-12.
We're 16-2.
2, pardon me.
Yep, looks like Kofelt is going to come back in here.
Green will come out. And Kofelt will look to close the door here for the Ohio Bobcats. Oh, you're fine.
Oh, sorry.
Are we in break? Okay.
Oh, okay. Didn't see it. That's fun.
So Kylie Kofelt back out there in the circle for the Bobcats after Ellie Green struggled a little bit here in this top of the 5th inning. Cedric, once again, this happened with Macy Ireland, except she struggled a lot more and had to come out. Kofelt did not struggle. She came out and Ellie Green had an opportunity, but she could not close the door, and so it's Kofelt back out there in the circle. And she needs just 2 outs with a comfortable 16-12 lead, 16-2 lead, excuse me.
Yeah, some good damage control practice here as well. You mean you're sitting here in a jam, bases loaded, only 1 down in the inning. This is a situation you may find yourself in later on in the season. I'm sure Kofelt has seen this throughout her career as well. So really phenomenal practice to be able to deal with a situation like this. Chance to close the door to this surging Kent State program.
And a line drive. Miller snatches it and gets to the second base bag. Double play.
All it takes is 1 pitch, I guess.
Austin Miller with a fabulous effort to end the game as the Bobcats win on the mercy rule. Final score 16-2, and Ohio has taken the first 2 games of this series. They are 23-16 overall. Those 23 wins tie the win total from last season. So they are looking strong so far in 2023. They're 13-4 now in Mid-American Conference play. Cedric, before we take a quick break and get things rolling for Game 3 of this series, quickly your final thoughts on Ohio's impressive, dominating performance, 16-2 winners over Kent State.
After the slow start yesterday, Sam, this team came out on fire. The bats were ringing all over the yard as they came up with a ton of hits, 12 to be exact, making quick work of Kent State. And they have a lot of reasons to smile right now. However, the job is not finished.
Nope.
A chance to be able to come up with a full series sweep coming up ahead.
And you'll stay tuned for that. We'll be back in a little bit for Game 3 of our series. For Cedric Granger, I'm Sam Hyman, and our director, Jordan Bowes, with our great crew. Sam Hyman saying so long for now, but we'll be back for Game 3 of this 3-game set on Bobcat TV.